Now, the age-old question, what should I use, lead forms versus landing pages for my ads? I've heard that landing pages are so good, I only want to use them. I don't want lead forms. Or I've heard that lead forms are so good because they're on the platform and that lead forms and landing pages are expensive and cost per impressions is more. And what we found is both can be true. And I hate saying that because a lot of people will be like, I've watched this video and I've learned nothing. But if you imagine when you're running ads on Facebook, okay, there are going to be a bucket of people, bucket one and bucket two. There is a bucket of people who like lead forms, and there's a bucket of people that like landing pages, okay? And this was a bit of a game changer for us when we started running it for clients because we would only stick with one or the other, and it always used to be a thing about which one do we use. And what we found is it would get even greater results, and if you are able to, within your CRM, you're able to see, if you separate them by campaign, so maybe you have one campaign for landing pages and then two for lead forms. In your CRM, hopefully, if you're using a good CRM, you'll be able to see which one is actually generating you the most money. Because what a lot of people do is, and I always remember the person when we got Series A funding, and the person who was my manager, but she also coached me really well. And she said, when you look at advertising, you need to look at it like it's an onion and there's different layers. And what a lot of people do, especially small business owners, they look at layer one, which is lead. Okay, leads. How many leads have we got? Oh, I paid £1 for a lead. Oh, I paid £2 for a lead. But what they never look at is the most important metric is how much money it made you, because nothing else matters unless that. You could advertise on the back of a horse. You could advertise putting your, I don't know, handing out leaflets. But the thing that makes a difference is how much did it bring in? And that's what, especially within our CRM, but hopefully most CRMs are out there, when a new contact is created, you can see where they came from, which campaign, and you can see, and maybe you have different workflows depending on how leads come in, etc. And you can see which one is actually more profitable, because instead of looking at layer one, you can look at layer two. What made me money? Which ads made me money? And we have a internal check within our business that we look at the deeper layer of sales data. We look at what's making our clients money and what's working rather than what's got leads. Because quite often enough, we will find that landing pages typically are expensive for a cost per lead, okay? And we will see that lead forms are cheap. But what we typically will see is the cost per sale. The landing pages can be often cheaper versus lead forms, which can be expensive. So it's just about looking and seeing what works and taking the emotions away from it. Yeah, leads are great, but if you're not actually looking what generates you sales, then how do you know what's working and what's not working? How do you know what to concentrate on? Because this cost per lead doesn't pay the bills. Okay, you can't pay your VAT bill, you can't pay HMRC, you can't pay your staff in how many leads you get. But what you can do is you can look at the cost per sale, and if you can see that with this one it's 25% less than this, then how do we increase that? How do we spend more on that? Okay, so a bit of food for thought when you're looking at landing pages and lead forms and running them yourself for your business.